All right, now let's talk through some selling scenarios across the portfolio to help you win more business. So first, how are we helping you address your customers' IT needs? The first area is really about powering these mobile devices and IoT devices. So that's where our wireless and access switches come into play to support the density of devices coming in. The second area really is mobile communications. So I've been doing mobile UC 10 plus years now, back from when it was a school project in a lot of enterprises. Now it is mainstream. Every customer I go into, they're deploying mobile UC as their communications, and usually deploying it on mobile devices like smartphones, tablets across the enterprise. What do you need to deliver that? You need 11AC as well as QoS with things like our app RF and our UC dashboards in our management software. The next area is really about devices. You've got to secure the devices. BYOD was the initial trend that drove up mobile devices, laptops, smartphones. Now we've got IoT coming into play, and you heard about some of the challenges that customers are facing in the last video that John went through. You need to secure the enterprise network. The other thing we're seeing a lot of now is a big shift to distributed offices, whether it's your customers doing acquisitions or expanding into branches. The problem for branch offices is how do I speed up those deployments? So that's where things come into play, such as our zero-touch provisioning, our branch controllers, or even our instant APs and wraps to deploy those remote offices. And then the final area, I think, is moving into the digital workplace, as well as verticals like healthcare, hospitality, is location services are becoming core to the business and really opens up a new opportunity for you to have discussions not just with the IT teams or the security teams, whether it's security products, but now you're able to get into, for example, a marketing organization, a CMO in a company, and open that discussion on the location technology. So first, how do you sell the campus core? So this is where you come into play with the Aruba 8400. Allows you to own the building. In the past, you could deploy the edge of the network, whether it's our access switches, wireless, but you were typically relying on, let's say, a Cisco Catalyst 6K to deploy the core of the network. So with the 8400 and 8320 now, you can ultimately own the building. So you should be going in and asking customers, whether you're selling the wireless or wired switches, what is the state of their core network? Are they looking at doing a refresh? How are they going to handle all these mobile and IoT devices coming in? They need to leverage things like automation. And that's really the foundation of our new core platform, is really leveraging mobile first and automation to scale the network. So definitely have these discussions, because once you miss an opportunity, if you don't ask a customer where they're at in their core migration and they go ahead and do a refresh, you're probably talking 10 plus years, because customers don't refresh the core of the network as fast as the edge. So definitely do have those discussions, open it. The other thing I would say in terms of verticals to target with the 8400, 8320, top priority should be education, as well as retail as an early one. Financials, I think in the coming year will be a market you want to start to attack. Why I say don't target financials as your top priority today is on the feature side. So we'll be looking for additional features on the switching to come out in the upcoming releases of Aruba OS CX early in the next year. So again, target education, target retail, and then opportunistically into other customers. The next area is really in terms of delivering predictive performance across the wireless networks. So this is where things like our Airwave and our Clarity and analytics come into play, being able to pull up a dashboard and look at what's the service level agreement on the network. Do I have any outages before we get people coming in? Because one of the problems with, especially voice calls, a lot of times you'll find in customers is customers won't report the issue until, let's say, an hour or two after the call dropped, and they get frustrated. I lost this deal because your wireless network didn't work and the call dropped. Well, tools like Airwave, Clarity allow you to proactively go in and test the network, make sure things are running well, and also when a problem does happen, be able to look back in time and rapidly identify, was it a wired issue or wireless? So again, a great area for your pre-sales engineers to demo. It's very visual in the dashboards in AppRF, UCC, but also leverage visual RF. So John shared on Central, we're starting to extend visual RF on Central, but it's also there in a rich factor on airwaves. So I can actually look at what's the coverage in the network. Do I have any coverage holes without having to send an engineer on site? So it allows your customers to do better planning for the future. The next area is how do we deliver campus mobility going into the future? As networks become more robust, people move to a digital workplace, embrace UCC, you can't have the network go down. So that's where things like clustering come into play with Aruba OS 8. You want to be able to do active failover, and that's delivered with Aruba OS 8, where I can even be on a call, and we will statefully fail that over to another controller, so there's zero outage to that call. Things like multi-zone allow us to address delivering a network capability across the same shared AP infrastructure, but I can have multiple controllers on the network to allow different domains. So I think you've had some examples of that.
Yeah, it's a great example of this, and you're not going to get much more secure than this. Almost any airport, I'm glad to say, but if you go into an airport and you're going through TSA, we can pretend that's security. You know how dangerous a belt and a glass of water are these days. But when you're going through that life-changing security experience, look up. And if you see an Aruba access point, know there is a high likelihood that it's connected to up to 4 controllers, a mixture of VM and physical. Some of those, we're going back to Homeland Security, the security side of things. Also to retail operations, because airports are essentially malls with people that can't leave. Yeah. And then obviously United as well are part of that. All of them using that same infrastructure, but all with their own controls. So they have complete segmentation, the highest level of security possible, and imminently controllable.
Yeah, so it really gives that flexibility and effectively share and deploy a single set of APs, but you can serve multiple customers. So drive up your revenue there, selling into multiple management domains. The next area is really, as I said, UC has really taken off. And what's enabled that to happen? So 11AC was really the first piece in the puzzle here, being able to support the density and reliable access to the wireless channel. But I think AppRF is really the foundation of it. So this is our QoS technology that's able to identify things like Skype for Business using the SDN API to integrate. So we can even deliver QoS for encrypted calls across the network. Also Cisco Jabber, we've recently added and extended our airwave dashboards. So now a customer can look at what's the voice quality on wired versus wireless, so we can speed up troubleshooting and get a quick snapshot of how well that voice network is running. Clustering, as I said, is really key here in a large-scale network to deliver that stateful failover so calls continue. If you're in a hospital, you don't want a doctor to lose their call just because, let's say, there was a switch lost power and took out a controller. I think the other thing is we're seeing, and I mentioned before, is this extension out to the WAN. So we're seeing many distributed offices. For example, in a hospital environment, you may have remote clinics. And that's where the 7000 series comes into play and can really extend that QoS and bandwidth management across the WAN so I can deliver a consistent service for that doctor, whether he goes into the clinic or comes into the hospital. So John, what is the question?
What is the question? What is the, good question, what is the question? What is the question of the minute, of the second, of the day, of the week, of the year? It's why I keep a watch. It's a simple question. But it's one I ask every single customer I meet, every potential customer, every keynote I give, every EBC here in the Customer Experience Center I give. One single question. What is on the network? What is connected to your network now? And now. And now. Because your vulnerability report with its device discovery capabilities is going to tell you what was connected between the hours of, let's say, 10 p.m. and 4 a.m. But as a professional hacker with a family, I keep regular hours. I'm going to come into your business whenever and pretend to be a printer or pretend to be an IoT camera or pretend to be anything while I connect to your network and gain access to your data, exploit vulnerabilities in your business on my time while reading the paper because all my tools are automated. Here at Aruba, we believe in not just the Google version of eating our own dog food, but of drinking our own champagne. Things go wrong. This is our network. End of last year, between December the 1st and December the 13th. There's 2,000 of us. Well, there's other people as well. We have shorter ones and taller ones, wider ones and thinner ones. But there's still around 2,000 of us. 24,305 devices connected to our corporate environment in that period of time. 1,772 iPads. Not that surprising because I've got one, I know you've got one. Exactly, okay, fairly ubiquitous around here. But 4,735 iPhones? Seriously? Now, a good few hundred of those are actually in the POC lab. We actually have a number of Apple One iPhones over there. In fact, we've got every flavor of iPhone that's ever existed, plus running every single version, major release of iOS. And we do that for testing for the wireless networks because, you know, Dom would never be happy if his iPad mini hadn't worked in the network. So we've got all those, but that doesn't explain the rest of them. Well, the reason why, any idea why? There was 4,735 iPhones in that week? No. First week in December. It was upgrade week. Most of us are on contracts. We get a new phone when we get it, and it's usually towards the end of the year because we've been conditioned over the last 10 years. The announcement comes in September, the new phone comes in November, you'll get the next one on your billing cycle. So first week in December, everybody gets new iPhones. So we end up with duplicate phones for a couple of days. But last year, Google changed the way it handled SSL and certificates. That was a problem for us because it limited us for onboarding. Now, we had no problems onboarding 335,000 people when the organization split, but we had a problem this week because we didn't have enough people to deal with these tickets because it was also the week we were moving to this brand new facility. The service desk had other priorities, but at least we knew. Now, you know, we've worked together for what, 2.5 years, a bit more than that now. I've got to know Christian well. What you might not know about Christian, he listens to both Bach and metal. Not always sure if it's at the same time, but that's what he listens to while he's banging out his TPS reports and the latest data sheet on the 8400. But whilst he's listening to Apple Music, Spotify, Pandora,
Apple Music usually.
Apple Music, we don't care if his device is connected to the network. Crucially, his iPod cannot talk to our SAP server. We don't want our logo sharing company on a slide with Target, with Home Depot, unless, of course, as it is now, where they've become customers. No. Knowing what's connected to your network is the first part of reducing your risk. Once you know what's connected, once you know what's trying to connect wired and wirelessly in your multi-vendor environment, then you can start to take control so that you will be able to know what is connected, what IoT, BYOD, corporate devices are connected to your wired and wireless multi-vendor environment, that they are connected with a consistent access policy, regardless of the type of device, that it will work with your perimeter security solution. That firewall is looking at the internet and going, ah! Okay, but all the bad stuff passes through. Dan Greer, CISO at InQtel, a CIA-backed startup, tells us that 92% of all DNS traffic, all web traffic principally, is command and control malware. And you will see it passing through that firewall. They see that, but they can keep stopping it, but they can't stop the origination, the offending device. Working with us, we can reach in, grab it, choke it, quarantine it, or boot it. Work with the middleware, work with the mobile security platform so they don't bring contagion, don't bring broken devices into the environment. And also work with the service desk, whether it's ServiceNow, Remedy, APIs, all those systems, so that this is an automated environment, so you don't have to put more resources, more human resources into simplifying and maintaining a secure enterprise. And Pascal, Luis, we talked about Gartner already, but, and it was a fantastic testament for you and your team on the wired and wireless side, but security got a little bit of props in this as well.
Yeah, security is a key piece of it. In our innovation, it's about the apps, the security layer, the management.
And this was really born, I'm going to do it in reverse order, but on the quadrant where 7 of the 12 questionnaire sections actually focused on security. 7 of the 12, that's nuts. You would expect at least it to be the other side of the coin on that one. It was anything from what is your guest management access, how are you going to let people into the network securely, behavior analytics, policy, all of these things, all on security. Personally, I was really glad of this quote that our clients report a high degree of satisfaction, and it provides guest access, device profiling and posturing onboarding, and crucially, it calls out multi-vendor environments, coming back to that Aruba culture of securing and managing, as with Airwave, not just our environment, but that of our competitors' enterprise solutions. But then, a couple of days later, in the critical capabilities, this was rather embarrassing, all 3 summary points were about security. We'd already swept the board, 6 out of 6 categories, and in the summary, the last 3, Airwave and ClearPass, complete solutions, multi-vendor, network management, policy enforcement, consistency. Consistency, that is the byword on this. That not only was our standard NAC security the highest quality, but they recognized that with Introspect, our UEBA solution, which we launched a little while ago, that analytics was going to be the foundation of security as we move forward. This network as a sensor. And I think we both shared in this thing, consider this vendor for all campus deployments globally. And again, that's just testament. In my security side, we've got 7,000 customers in over 120 countries. I don't think any of my security competitors can say that yet very often. But it's been a testament to you, our customers, that we've delivered so many secure environments. Which rather nicely brings us to extending those campus environments with the branch solutions, with Central, and now it's mobile apps, making this simpler, working with the 7000s. I'm a big fan of the 7000s myself, having deployed a few of them in healthcare environments, so that you take the Aruba network you have right now, and it becomes an investment that you can extend the capability of with the 29 and the 2920, the 2930Fs. Again, extending that, giving you visibility of the access layer of what is connected, working with the instance, giving you the application functionality. And then the whole play here is one of visibility, of knowing what and how the enterprise is being used. And then with clarity as well, giving you that end-to-end utilization piece. It really is Aruba. It just is our natural culture. Then we get to, I think, my personal, well, I don't understand why we don't have more people in this. And I've been working with Eric Flavel and Donna Lowe, myself, and I know you've been working with the channel over on the East. This is a fantastic opportunity. We talked at the beginning of the OC20, which is great for those small, medium environments, but it's a fantastic opportunity as well for you, our regular partners, the MSP. This isn't just for the AT&Ts. This is for you, the regular partner. Now, let me be brutally honest with you here. And as the junior, I'll take this one on the head if that's okay. People, there's 2 kinds of managed services. There's managed services where you want to own the customer experience end to end. And then there's managed services because you want to spread the cost of the deployment over 36 nice and easy monthly payments. Well, this is both. Because we've brought together the technology with Central, with multi-tenancy, and HP leasing is involvement. And of course, that means you can also build in finances for the professional services, the real meat that you want in this particular sandwich. So we've taken, again, this openness of our culture along with Central's capabilities, so you have access to all the APIs. We've introduced the MSP workflows. We've also introduced bulk pricing, and we were doing this beforehand, and this is now a bigger part of it. So you're seeing these larger deployments because this is what people want. It's how we run our environment here ourselves. Buying as you use, this usage-based model, this, have it taken care of.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen a lot of buzz in the market about networking as a service. A lot of vendors are doing it on the management side. This allows us to do it across the portfolio now, including hardware. A customer can truly go with an OpEx model on their switches, their APs, and also the management layer. And then from your point of view, allows you to shift some of your business now to a recurring revenue stream.
Yeah, this is fun because by bringing the two elements together, I really am talking to you, the small to medium size, the state-specific service provider. This really is about you. By bringing all this together, we improve the margins for you. We improve the customer retention for you. They are your customer for the next 3 years. Anything they bring into that environment, they're going to bring in with your consent. This is a good thing. Now, there are a couple of caveats on this, and you should definitely speak to your channel account manager for more information. There are a couple of caveats in terms of the number of customers that you want to bring into this as a minimum requirement. We've basically said there's no real conditions for the first 6 months to 12 months. There is on the leasing side, we ask that you end up transacting X thousands of dollars over a 2-3 year period, but the ramp is very, very gentle, and one which every small to medium size partner, from the silvers to the golds, can be part of. And this is just opportunity, extra margin, extra service, just plain extra. That kind of brings us nicely into the location side, and then how we bring this all together. Because location, it's been interesting doing this roadshow. I had around 40% of the partners have actively involved in location services. A lot of them after having seen it here. This is, we hope we are our own best use case for this. But it's a Trojan horse. It's a great way in. When you see a campus, when you see a highly distributed business, ask the question, after the one about what's on your network, ask the question, how do new people find their way around? How do guests find their way around? How do you? Where are they? Because it's a problem they probably haven't considered. But in a world full of Yelp reviews on everything, it's one worthy of consideration. The fact that it's also subscription-based is great for you as well as partners, because this is one of consistent revenue of further margin opportunities. And it really is vertical wide. You look at this building here, we are your standard enterprise. This is a single-story building, but we are a great use case for it. Our colleagues across the road, Palo Alto, they just deployed their brand new campus. And they've got 4 buildings, 6 stories in 3 buildings, many more meeting rooms than we have. And they've put this in there. It's how they're running their environment. And they're running what they call an open environment. Open because they don't have to worry about people getting lost. Location services, where am I? And now with asset tracking, where is it? Is a fantastic opportunity for you to grow your business within your existing business. Remember, there's probably Bluetooth already in that access point that can be leveraged. Which I guess brings me to the use cases we showed recently in healthcare. And it's been a real, it started off as a hypothetical, but then you look at the partners that are involved with the likes of Stanley Healthcare and their involvement. This became a real thing very quickly. This single asset tracker, it's what, it's a stack of 3/4 in size, okay? A couple of bucks. How expensive is that high dependency bed, and where the hell is it? That's how you solve this problem. How many have I got? Where are they? When you go into your favorite, what's the word I'm looking for? Building supply store. And you go into their warehouse. You have actually been into their warehouse. It starts at 7 feet. Everything down here is retail. Everything up there is warehouse. The stacks, the pallets of high-value goods they've got, now they know where they are, because you can't scan a barcode at 60 feet, when it's 2 stories up. But now they know exactly where that pallet of 15-inch jerky guns. It's a real thing. Google it.
Yeah, and I think the exciting thing with us using BLE for it allows us to get more accuracy than the Wi-Fi based solutions out there today.
Absolutely, and it's a growing market. We do have competitors, it's fair to say. I don't know if is it fair to call them competitors after the Gartner month we've had, but we should recognize, we've got to have some challenges, and competition's good for growth. First of all, it's fair to say that Cisco and Meraki are still two separate words and essentially two network environments.
Sales teams fight against each other day and day.
Absolutely.
I think the other one I hear a lot, which is a big differentiator if you guys aren't leading with it today, is our flexible architecture. So you can sell to a customer Aruba Instant. They grow in size. They can layer on Central, even bigger Airwave. Realize they need a controller. They just add a controller to the network. Those APs are reused. Not so with the competition. I've talked to many customers who've switched where they deployed Meraki, they wanted to add a controller or stop doing the subscription model with Meraki. You have to rip and replace the APs and put in AeroNet APs. So there's no investment protection for customers. And time again, when I'm talking to customers, that really hits a sore point for them with the competition solution. So definitely pitch our flexible architecture.
Yeah, I mean, it comes to the same. We've seen so many. That Aruba Utilities app that you'll see on Android is a fantastic tool. When you go in and you see Cisco and Meraki, 9 times out of 10, that Meraki is a guest network. You come here, you'll only see one network, okay? One set of access points. You will not see anything separate. But the fact that we are able to broadcast to this screen wirelessly, at the same time any guest can too, crucial part of that is security. That is mobile collaboration in force. But crucially, this screen, like his iPod, cannot talk to our SAP server. That's how we enable it. And again, we're not seeing that from the competitors. We're seeing fractured solutions, the creation of a solution, which is the antithesis of a solution. The policy management piece, again, I'm not going to say anything on this. I'm going to get Gartner's, six lines from them in the most two recent reports just say, consistency, not just for our solutions. Our biggest customer, this is kind of embarrassing, Christian, on the policy management, our biggest customer is still 100% Cisco. They've got over 500,000 devices connected to their environment, but they secure it with ClearPass.
Yeah, I mean, back to your example, ClearPass is a Trojan horse. We build a relationship in that account. And now our next opportunity is when it's a refresh time, let's go in and bring the access layer over to Aruba.
Yeah, that methodology is now officially called the Home Depot. But you don't need to have a $500 million breach to become a customer. We'll talk to you before that point, hopefully long before that point. And then you should never have it. The remote and branch piece, again, this Aruba is an investment, as a core investment, and then extending it with the branch capability. It just delivers. It's ubiquity of connectivity, the access stack, the software stack, and the security stack on top of it. It's no different. It just looks the same. And when you look at, I'm always blown away, the 7004, you can plug up to 16 access points in one of those things. That's 1,000 users. That's a football field. And we still talk about that as being a branch, whereas other vendors talk about that as being that's a campus extension. I mean, it's just, we need our terms of reference. And then the mobile engagement, and again, it's a differentiator. You don't just have to come here, you don't have to go to Levi Stadium or any of the number of NFL stadiums, NHL hockey stadiums, baseball parks, but also now you can go to one of the, a local mall probably and actually see. You'll never see our stuff unless you look for the little squares or you look at the access points. But it's a point of differentiation. They're making better use of the infrastructure and crucially, delivering an experience, a connected experience. That's what we do as Arubans. For you as partners, this seamlessness, the ease with which all these solutions can be deployed, the ubiquity of them, is a higher win rate for you. Because you should have the faith, when you walk in, when you show that sort of slides with the access points, with the switches, we have everything at every level. There is no gap, and if there is, be sure we're working on solving that problem next.
Yeah, I think the other one I'd say tying into that increasing win rates is we have passionate customers, and a lot of that comes from the culture with this customer first, customer last mentality is if you're working a deal, reach out to your Aruba channel reps and find a customer who's in the market they're in. So very often, even if it's not a public reference or case study, we have glowing references who are willing to talk to your customers and help you get over that last hurdle.
No, the hurdles notwithstanding, it does work, and I give a special shout out. Community.arubanetworks.com is an asset you should well be aware of. It's not used by the partners as much as it should be, but it's really used by the users to solve a lot of problems before they become TAC problems, but crucially discuss features and functions and how to better utilize. It's a fantastic resource and one that partners should actually take advantage of. The blueprint, what started off as a mobile-first architecture, which is now a mobile-first secure always architecture, is an investment for your customers. It's backed no longer just by Aruba, but by Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, and we're always grateful for Meg's credit card in support of our ideas and what Mr. Black and his organization deliver for us. Crucially, we are that trusted mobility advisor, and this is really, when you look at the Gartner report, when you look at so many others, it's almost like we don't see enough of them these days, but what was the OZA mobility advisor is now just ubiquitously associated with Aruba. We are mobile infrastructure, we are mobile connectivity, we are a mobile experience, and that's what your customers are buying, and they're buying it more and more. Which brings this fantastic thing about scalability and revenue opportunities, being part of a larger organization, the financial services program that go with that. The benefit of partnering with HP on a services side. Don't get me wrong, services is all about you, but on these really big projects, they're going to ask sometimes for a master contractor. We can bring that and deliver that with you. And crucially, it's how we built this business, it's how we're going to continue delivering against this business. Let's look at a couple of use cases from this year that are fantastic examples of this. I'm a 1K this year mainly because of this program we've been doing. I hit my 100,000 miles a week ago, and it's nice to know that Unite has been part of this. So they bought into Aruba some time ago, but it's what it's delivering. So every single gate that they lease has got one of our outdoor APs under it, and it's communicating with the plane. It's getting telemetry from the plane. It's getting stuff from the engines. The engines are actually leased on essentially on a per mile basis, and that data is being exchanged through this network, the same network that you will see when you go through TSA control next time. But it's delivering better operations. It's delivering passenger manifests. It's delivering the baggage information, and it's doing it to keep their network, a network of networks, running and operationally efficient. Great business for them. In fact, they were one of our keynote speakers this year at Atmosphere, which was great. But you're now seeing them using Wi-Fi, using Aruba Wi-Fi throughout that business, whether it's actually in the plane itself, whether it's in the gate areas, purely to make sure that they have seamless exchange of data. And I mean seamless, because any delay is a delay. It doesn't get more real than that.
Yeah, I think the other exciting thing about this opportunity, it's a 50-50 split wireless switching. So definitely take advantage. If you're selling wireless a lot, bring wired into the equation. Or if you've got customers where you're selling our access switches or core switches, talk to the customer about wireless. So you can really expand your opportunity in the business there.
I can actually put in a specific shout out here for one of our partners in the Illinois area who added an extra $1.5 million recently to this account, because they're now using ClearPass to secure their non-Aruba Hewlett-Packard infrastructure. They actually expanded ClearPass from just the Aruba thing to now that multi-vendor environment.
Excellent.
Which then brings me to, let's say, a ubiquitous company.
Yeah, and this is a competitive win here, a big one.
Huge.
I think one of the big things here that the partner and the sales team leverage was working with Home Depot, not just, okay, how do we build a BOM and get these APs and switches installed, but also building some processes in the back end, because to make the customer comfortable with this migration from Cisco to Aruba is when there's issues in the network, when we onboard a new store, what's the process we have to go through in ordering, fulfillment, escalating issues through our TAC if there's any issues. So I think that's key, is when you're working these competitive deals, don't just think about the products and differentiation, but also how the customer is going to roll it out and deliver that service.
Yeah, there's two lessons learned from two lessons which I certainly learned from this this customer environment. First of all, there was a need. We had 2,187 stores that had to be migrated from Cisco wired and wireless to Aruba wired and wireless, which meant they were running two separate security policies. And bear in mind, all of this had to be done under the watch of the Secret Service. They actually, it is actually the Secret Service. When you lose $500 million of other people's money, the Treasury and their active side, the Secret Service gets involved. So the policy management for this multi-vendor environment came under a lot of scrutiny. And this was a true multi-vendor environment. Right up until the last day, that last store, they had to have consistency of policy in that PCI regulated environment. We delivered that. Second thing I learned from this was when you're rolling out and swapping out access points in those 3-story warehouses, they're a great partner. They can get you a really good deal on the cherry pickers to do it from. You don't have to travel too far. All joking aside, we want you to be successful. That's why we did this roadshow, why we're recording this right now, why it's vitally important that you download this deck from the partner portal or you get it from your channel account manager. We've got more references in here and we want you to have them. We want you to have this deck because the real value of this deck is not when we're presenting it. And it's certainly not my jokes. It's when you're presenting it, when you can wrap your success and take your customer's use case and make it about them when they become part of that experience. So we've included these slides because these are live links that we want you to have that you can showcase to your customers. Understand that everything we did was delivered by a partner. And we've had a great year. We've reported 30-odd% growth this year, and I know we're tasked with doing more.
Pretty exciting, and it's delivered by you guys. I think the other thing I'd say is if you have an interesting opportunity and you think the customer may be willing to do a press release or case study, reach out to your Aruba channel reps because we want to expand this because that helps you shorten the sales cycle, frankly. I mean, a lot of times when customers see their competitors or other large brands actually deploying it, it eases their migration and may short circuit a proof of concept cycle.
Absolutely. It was interesting because you mentioned at the beginning of this how the budgets are flat.
Yep.
But as we go through these renewal phases, as customers go through growth cycles, and we look at the actual total area markets that are available, there is still huge amounts of essentially green space for us because customers start demanding natively this highly connected experience that we deliver. It's just one of continuous opportunity. It really is. If you're expanding, then there's SD-WAN. There's always security. But if you're wanting to make better use of the network, if you want the network to be representative of your business, then you need to start looking at the CX operating system and what you can get delivered from that, from the 84, the 8320s. And all the way through, it's that consistency. And that's what's delivering. And remember, it's always delivered through you. To that extent, I think we should finish the way Dom would have finished. I think that's important. So whilst Dom's no longer with us, I swear his spirit is. It really is. Right down to my orange shoelaces. But Dom would have said it. Kirti still says it every single day. And we're the current line of ambassadors for it. So it's simple. Our approach, the winning approach, is and always will be customer first, customer last, partner always. If you have been, thank you for watching. Please get in touch, speak to your channel account manager, speak to your territory managers, and if you need to, if you want to, get in touch with us. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot. Happy selling.